All right, joining me now via Skype is Public Affairs Analyst Gbola Oba. Gbola Oba, it's good to have you join me right now. Nigerians have really not been very comfortable with the issue and the idea of constituency funds. Can you talk to us generally about this? How constitutional is constituency funds, and in what place are we really allowing this to go on, especially looking at it from the window where Nigerians are saying they're not really seeing the projects in their constituencies?
It is a total stranger to our Constitution. It is an extra constitutional phenomenon that the connivance between the legislature and the presidency of former General Olusegun Obasanjo connived against the Nigerian state. It is a systemic way of looting the treasury of the state. In fact, there's no better definition of constituency projects than calling it lootocracy.
All right. So if that is the case, and this government, or in fact, all the governments after former President Olusegun Obasanjo have always talked about the issue of fighting corruption. ICPC just said they've uncovered ways by which the constituency funds or projects are like a conduit pipe. Why is this so difficult to get rid of?
The politics of it is very, very technical. The politics of it is very, very dangerous to any incumbent president who may want to be overly assertive. But I must say at this juncture that it is utterly disappointing that a president such as General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, cannot effectively extirpate this corruptive phenomenon. He came into office promising Nigerians that he would fight corruption. And I must tell you that as an avid watcher of politics, one of the areas of major disappointment that I have against this president is the fact that some of the very ostensible phenomena of corruption have been largely left untouched. One of them being the Constituency Project.
All right, now as it is, if the government wants to be politically correct and so that in the eyes of politics is trying to keep its good face and good name in that regard, will Nigerians be correct to say that the government is not fighting corruption enough, especially from the right places and very obvious places?
My friend, it is not an exaggeration to say that this government is fighting corruption with kid glove. Total kid's glove, actually. And the reason is that we are now talking about the incongruity and the enormous corruptive tendency of constituency project. You would want to remember that not too long ago, less than 2 weeks ago, the Accountant General of the Federation came out to itemize the inconsistencies in how some NDAs, especially revenue-generating NDAs, work against the constitutional order. The constitutional order is such that any money generated by any agency, department, or ministry of the government must go to the Federation account. And it is after monies are appropriated that those monies should then go to any direction of state. As we speak, 4 years plus after this government came into power, I am sad to tell Nigerians that systemic looting of our treasury, that systemic abuse of our treasury, like the Constituency Project, has prevailed too. So I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? It's sometimes quite easy to play, talk to the sentiments of the time we're fighting corruption, we will fight corruption. But truth be told, a cursory examination of the systemic corruptive methodologies of state are still utterly prevalent.
All right. Now, the ICPC has come out with a statement to say that they have uncovered some of these irregularities when it comes to execution of constituency projects. The ICPC certainly does not need the presidential go-ahead to carry out its constitutional mandate and role. And it's not been able to handle this headlong. Does this put a dent on the capacity of the ICPC as an anti-graft fighting agency?
Capacity is the word I like from your question. Capacity in personnel, capacity in the legal team that ordinarily should prosecute the enormity and indeed the democratization of corruption. Look, we are talking of 360 members of the House of Representatives and 109 members of the Senate. I can afford to say with a degree of conceit, I can afford to say, I repeat, with a degree of conceit, that every one of them, if you forensically look at the way they've gone about Constituency Project, every one of them should be in jail.
Wow.
That is very, very. So tell me where the capacity is for an agency like the ICPC to prosecute. So what the ICPC would actually do in this instance, and I pray they do that, would be to go for those whose cases are so lousy that something could be done about them easily and fast enough to at least give a modicum of redemption to the laissez-faire, the attitude that now prevails.
All right. Gbola Oba, thank you very much for talking to us on TVC Breakfast. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity once again.
All right, it's quite troubling to the mind of a lot of Nigerians who don't understand how these things work. But we have joining us Public Affairs Analyst Gbola Oba. Now, Gbola Oba, it's good to have you join me right now. Now, the ICPC has revealed this. A lot of Nigerians are saying that, well, the politics of getting rid of this corruption in this way can be a little complex. And I feel that you share the same mind. But what would it look like if the court is used to declare this constituency projects illegal, and then the legal way is explored? Talk to us from that window.
That would be a very strategic and effective methodology to use to fight the cankerworm that the phenomenon has become on our budgeting system. It would be lovely because it would just seem that the government is eating, adhering, or respecting the rule of law by doing that. But I don't suppose the Attorney General would have the backbone to want to do that, because he would naturally know that vitriol will come in his direction from the two chambers of the National Assembly. Those who could help us at this juncture.
All right, we lost our feed from Gbola Oba there. He was talking to us about what Nigerians feel and the issue of exploring the legal angle to helping ICPC fight corruption. That was what he was talking about. He was joining us on Skype to talk about this. Okay, I understand he's back right now. All right, Gbola Oba, fine. It's good to have you back now. Now the issue there is, where do Nigerians stand in all of this? Because the point there is, Nigerians are the ultimate losers when it comes to how this impacts them. Where do they stand in all of this when it comes to their role to ensuring? Now they've heard from ICPC, they have known that one way or the other, something is amiss here. Something is wrong with the way the constituency projects are being executed. What can Nigerians do, or how helpless are they?
they are not totally helpless, and they must be a bit more assertive in letting any candidate to the office of the chief executive officer of state, that is the president, know that if he sustains the malady, they will inflict serious electoral punishment on him. And why am I saying that? The constituency project phenomenon, as bad as it is a conspiracy within the executive and the legislature. The executive actually has to play ball with the legislators before a constituency project can be ascertained by an agency of the executive, supposedly and purportedly and ostensibly being implemented by an agency of the executive, but that agency of the executive will then enjoin the member of the National Assembly to go bring his or her contractor. It is a systemic vessel to actually siphon resources out of the coffers of government.
All right, in what might seem like trying to be politically right from the chief executive, the ultimate chief executive, is this all about winning election and maintaining the office and keeping a good face? Is that what this is all about? Keep winning elections? Is that why it is difficult to face this thing headlong?
It is difficult because in a liberal democracy, you sometimes give to take. In a liberal democracy, you play politics. Whenever you hear the word politics, it means that some incongruities will come along with some visionary or very hallowed measures. I can't sit here and be delusional enough to want to give you the impression or give our public the impression that you could just surgically go and extirpate, cut off all incongruous measures such as this in the polity. But having said that, the degree to which the president is determined and resolved to make sure that this incongruity is extirpated, the degree to which he cares about his own legacy, the degree to which he rights the goodwill of the masses, especially on measures that are popular with his electors, that is the electorate, such as this, because this issue, a preponderant majority of Nigerians really want this phenomenon of constituency project totally extirpated, because in the first place, it is inconsistent with our constitution. It's an extra constitutional phenomenon.
All right.
So the president is not totally beholden to the legislature, to the National Assembly, that he cannot do something if he's so determined, visionary, and he cares about his own legacy.
All right. Now, in our history as a democracy, we have seen the roles of civil society when it comes to putting pressure on government in some areas, and they have had their way one way or the other. Is it likely that the civil society can take this up, mount pressure on government, and have their way in reversing the issues of constituency projects, or at least being more transparent with it?
It is an area that any civil society organization that wishes to build a perception of effectiveness, that wishes to consolidate a perception of seriousness, should promptly look into. I would suppose, and indeed very shocked, that a civil society organization such as SERA has not looked into this. Not that they've not looked into it, but that they have not used the the instrument of the legal machinery that they tend to use effectively in prosecuting the extirpation or the eradication of this Malay. I'm indeed very shocked. Something should be done about this, and it's a fantastic opportunity for any CLO to appropriate the inherent positive brand mileage that is in it.
All right. Gbola Oba, thank you very much for talking to us on TVC Breakfast. All right, joining me now via Skype is Public Affairs Analyst Gbola Oba. It's good to have you join me this morning, Gbola. Now, let's even get into the controversial issue as to whether the National Assembly has the right to tinker with the... Nigerians still have not gotten over that aspect of things, whether the National Assembly is meant to look at the budget submitted by the executive and okay it or change figures and all of that. How can we put an end to that first before we go into this other issues of increasing budgets and reducing budgets and tinkering, reducing figures here and there?
I think we must be very careful not to confuse and conflate issues.
All right.
There is no liberal democracy that I know. There is no liberal democracy that I know on the face of the earth where the parliament is supposed to be a rubber stamp entity to the executive. Those who posit that it is only the prerogative of the executive to write the budget, present to the National Assembly, and that the National Assembly must willy-nilly just approve the budget as submitted by the executive may not have understood the integrity of the liberal form of democracy that we practice. We must remember fundamentally that these are representatives of the people, and they can also, within the context of their knowledge of their constituencies, suggest to the executive what to do, in so much as they agree within themselves. There are two chambers of our National Assembly, and if the two chambers agree on a particular, but for people to proceed, and I must repeat this, for some analysts and some pseudo-intellectuals to proceed that the National Assembly does not have the power to tinker with the figures of the budget as given to them, that in itself is wrong. Is wrong. There is no liberal democracy where the legislative arm of government is a rubber stamp to the executive arm. Having said that, we are talking here about an extra constitutional phenomenon. That is the phenomenon of a constituency project. I am aware that as we speak, the National Assembly is trying to pass a bill to legitimize the constitutional incongruity. What is an aberration primarily to the Constitution? They are trying to pass a legislative bill to legitimize it. The day President Muhammadu Buhari signs that bill, if he signs it, if they eventually pass it, the day President Muhammadu Buhari signs that bill, I will come out as vehement as I came out against Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, then President of Nigeria, as a purveyor and a supporter of the abuse of our Constitution and corruption. It will be a great stigma to his legacy if President Muhammadu Buhari signs that bill, because that bill itself is inconsistent with our Constitution.
All right. Gbola Oba, I must thank you so much for your insight into all of this. Thank you very much for talking to TVC Breakfast.